everybody.
I just found the keys to a city. The beats are big and the lights are pretty. So why can't we go to the busy where the dreams are in the sky?
And that's There You Are by POGO. And yes, here we are. I'm Forrest.
And it's Anthony today. I feel fancy with a corncob pipe.
Today is Sunday, October
20th.
Wow. What happened there? 2019.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, Forrest.
Auto date fill.
Auto date fill?
Yeah, on the computer.
I'll tell you what happened. Yesterday was the 19th, and then when you go through a whole 24 hours, it becomes a...
He's just pissy because I had to drag him here. He was worried about melting.
Hey, man. Witches' lives matter.
He's, hopefully the rain doesn't take away from your audio experience too much.
If it does, get a better computer so you can hear more things.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This is America. Capitalism, bitch.
Oh, that is tasty.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
stop
okay.
it. I'm on my, 12th glass, so it tastes all the same to me at this point.
So, first thing. We're going to have a real heart-to-heart right here. We need subscribers to keep going. We're trying to post as often as we do. And it's tough when you aren't getting any positive reinforcement sometimes, right, Anthony?
Yeah, fuck you, Alfred. Are we still with the okay on language?
Yeah, we've given up. Maybe once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll care. But right now, we're gonna have some fun. Just remember, your mother could be watching.
I know your mom watches.
Well, so maybe watch this episode, watch a few episodes, subscribe, comment, like our videos. Just help us get there. Let's get this show moving.
We want to give away free shit for y'all.
And we want to increase the production a little bit.
Yeah, we want to have cool things. We want to shoot new guns. We want to drive new cars. We want to have new cameras. We want to... what else do we want? We want jewelry.
Let's start with a new camera before we get to new cars.
All right.
Yeah. So, and that goes to the second idea. The second big idea of our intro. We're drawing from a limited skill bank. There's only 3 of us here. That's it. There are only 3 of us doing this show. And we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of skills. It's a limited set of the thousands of skills and bits of information and the millions of bits of information out there. And if there's anything you, the viewers, want to see, comment and let us know what you want us to do.
Is it bad if I smoke gunpowder?
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
Comment and let us know what you're thinking. Anthony, what are you smoking today?
Well, we got corncob pipe.
You have my corncob pipe.
It's a corncob pipe. I just wanted to do it like a hick.
You have my corncob pipe. There's already been corncob pipes and pipes on the show. And this tobacco is from that last time, so I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, it smoked for a little bit. Now it's, fucked up. I don't know if I fucked it up.
You probably did. You keep packing it while you're smoking it. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, you're supposed to pack it a little bit.
Not while you're smoking.
All right, you know what? Look at it, all ash. Oh my. It was too packed, huh?
No. You kept packing it while you were smoking.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Do you know how to... No. You pack it before... So, on today's lessons, how to smoke a pipe, how I was taught to put tobacco in a pipe is you sprinkle some in and you pack it down. You sprinkle some more in and you pack it down. And every time you want to fill it up, you want to give it 3 packs, and on the final even pack, you want to twist it so you get a nice even packing of the tobacco so it smokes evenly. And we're not talking He-manning this. We're talking gently with some somewhat serious pressure, but not too bad. So while Anthony figures out how to pack a pipe, I'm going to say I am smoking a Monte Cristo.
That's a good one.
AJ Fernandez. It's a Monty by Monte Cristo. I know nothing of Monte Cristo's. This is the first one from them I've ever smoked, so...
You know Cisco Kid was a friend of mine?
What?
War, Cisco Kid was a friend of mine. No? Alright.
Do we have a drink of the week?
Apparently it's Johnny Walker Red. Because we never drank it before on the channel.
That's something... Well, that's actually something I've never had before. Use your finger. Do not use the bullet. You don't get a good feeling of the pressure. Dear God. So yeah, I've never had Johnny Walker Red. We've never had it on the show. My lighter's in the box. So we have mystery bourbon right now, though, so I can't even tell you what the Johnny Walker Red's like. What do you know about mystery bourbon?
From Kentucky.
Okay.
I know that much. It has an eagle on the bottle. So it's pretty damn good.
We have mystery bourbon from Kentucky.
That's pretty damn good.
And
I'll drink to that.
Once we crack open the Johnny Walker, we'll give a little bit of a review. The rain seems to be picking up.
A little bit.
So this probably isn't a good time to go over how to drink scotch.
I mean, we have a microphone in front of us. I'm sure we'll be fine.
I think I've done this before, but really, this was one of the thoughts that the show was started on. The people who stole our name literally started using our name a week before we started production.
Which was?
The manual. So I went, now they had been existing a little bit before that. Never heard of them, but we were going... I went on their site and they were talking about how to drink scotch. And they were like, well, you can drink scotch, you can pour it in a glass, you can let it sit, you can put it on ice if you want to dilute it a little bit. And
I like it that
They
way.
went into all these fancy things that like...
open glass.
They went, you should enjoy it in this. You have two options when you're drinking.
Drink it fast or drink it slow.
You put it in the glass and you put it in your mouth, or you put it in your mouth.
That's what she said.
So, news.
What is in news nowadays?
I'll let you talk about the first sentence, because I want to take a puff on this and take a sip of this.
Well, I disagree with the statement that nothing huge is happening in America. People are always pissed. There's always something happening.
Well, that's what I mean. There's nothing major like breaking news. Everything's basically still impeachment, which the information is coming to us like this. Drip. 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 And yes, that's not ash, that was fresh tobacco that he thought was no good, so... So, let's take a peek at international news.
Well, we'll talk about the Yellow Vest movement. It's still going on. Hong Kong, power to the people. They're doing some kick-ass things over there. Some of the pictures are really powerful.
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen the picture where it's like thousands of protesters and you see all the umbrellas and you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of umbrellas? But it's interesting because I Wikipedia'd it, and the Chinese media actually states that there was only like 250,000 protesters.
250,000?
Yeah, but it was more like the whole fucking city of Hong Kong was protesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the whole city is like literally like, screw you, Hong Kong.
That's the...
Screw you, China.
China. They're not pissed at Hong Kong, they're pissed at China.
Yeah. Wait, is Hong Kong in China?
Hong Kong, yeah.
Well, no shit.
But, yeah. But the thing I love is that in both of these movements, they're fighting for things that we have in America, that we get to love in America. The people in Hong Kong are waving American flags around to show what they want their freedom to be like. And a significant amount of the country wants to throw that away. And a significant amount of America wants to throw all that away.
Yeah, like the NBA.
Well, kind of.
Well, that's like a whole nother story.
Well, that has to do
LeBron's a communist, apparently.
Well, that has to do with what was said. Somebody sympathized with the people in Hong Kong, and I heard through the grapevine that somewhere that the NBA was like, oh, no, you can't do this. No, because of the sneaker contracts with Nike.
Right, because they get manufactured in China or something.
Yep.
Like that, yeah. Buy American. Support the American cause. Well, I guess buying from China is supporting American cause because we have a whole trade deal with them.
Different conversation?
Yeah, different conversation.
There's something you were excited to talk about.
Yeah! I mean, like, I'm not excited to talk about it, but, like, so pretty much El Chapo's son was captured by police in Mexico.
Federales.
Yeah, and the El Sava something cartel was just like, this ain't it, chief. And they literally dispatched and had a huge firefight in Mexico City, and then the police and military were just like, you know what, you can have El Chapo's son back. But I find it incredibly amazing that this guy...
Hold up.
Okay.
Pause the brakes. You know what I find amazing? Mexico is so strict on firearm laws. There is one legal gun store in Mexico. So that's how firearm laws work out for you.
Yeah, okay.
All right, keep going.
But, like, we were going to talk about this on our main segment about, like, El Chapo and, like, for me personally, I find it interesting how, you know, as Americans, we're just like, oh, this guy grew up as an orphan, he worked his way, he did newspapers, then he became tech savvy, and now he's a CEO of some software firm making millions. Now, we take those that are less fortunate, and, you know, we praise that guy that's a CEO. Not saying we should praise El Chapo, but the guy literally had nothing, and is probably one of the most world-renowned cartel bosses. Like, everybody in the world knows who the hell El Chapo is. And there's so much respect upon the man and so much fear amongst the man. Like, we can look at that as a totalitarian regime, stuff like that, but the guy literally came from nothing. And he's one of the most popular and most,
Popular, I don't know is the right word.
well, like, popular as in, like, people are like, oh, El Chapo's the Don. People are like, that's the guy to be. If you were a friggin' scumbag and ready to kill people.
He's so powerful and wealthy that everyone knows who he is and what he does, and he isn't in jail.
So this is the fun fact that I was going to tell you about with El Chapo. So back in the day when cell phones were first around, and El Chapo was doing his thing, there would be... So this is a story that I heard from the Discovery Channel or one of those channels. So he would literally send 2 armed guards to a restaurant, one of his favorite restaurants. The 2 armed guards go in there. People are like, holy shit, what's happening? And they're like, don't worry about it. Just need your cell phones. So they would go around, ask for your cell phone. You know, a man with an AK-47, you're going to be like, you know what, have my cell phone. So about 30 minutes later, El Chapo comes in with his armed guards, sits down, has a meal. You know, guards are watching all the patrons eating their food. And, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours later, El Chapo gets up, says, thank you for your time, thank you for not taking pictures, thank you for not notifying anyone, pays for everyone's fucking bill in the restaurant, gives all their cell phones back, and leaves.
Interesting.
That's friggin' badass.
That's interesting.
That's badass.
I wonder how true that story is.
It's true. And there's like multiple accounts of people who are like, yeah, he came into the restaurant, they asked for my phone, you know, everybody was quiet, still enjoying their meals, wouldn't let anybody leave. The second he gets up, he says thank you, pays for everybody's meal, and leaves.
Interesting.
So I thought that was a cool story. I am not enjoying this pipe. I'm going to put that right there.
Yeah, you packed it too much again.
Oh, eat a dick.
Actually, no. Ugh, what did you put on this?
My saliva.
You didn't pack this enough.
Oh, I don't pack it enough. I don't pack it this much. I don't pack it that much.
Give me the tobacco.
Just pack it some more.
What's our next topic?
Let's find out. The fall of car culture, which is exciting for me because I'm in the car business and I always like discussing this with people. So, I had a conversation with a customer's son, and I said, you know, it's cool that you have this car, but if you really think about it, like, yeah, it could be a collector's piece later down the line, thank you. But at the end of the day, technology is growing so exponentially that, you know, you can't even enjoy the car in 10 years. Because it's not like a 1964 Corvette Stingray where it was an option to get air conditioning. It's like no, this has lane keeping assist, this has satellite navigation, it has vehicle settings that are preferred for the car. Like, in 10 years, that's going to be like, oh, well, we don't have the software to do this. I mean, it might
that's an interesting part of it, because the, you look at the old cars, and what do you have to do when you, like, okay, something goes bad. You have to replace a physical mechanical part that maybe moves a couple different directions. But it's physical, it's metal, you can machine it, you can cut it. When you get into to the modern cars, it's all circuitry. It's all computer, it's all circuitry, and whereas there's a lifespan on everything man-made.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So if you go over with the expectancy of, okay, this control arm has bushings on it, and I have to replace the bushings.
Right.
Now, okay, this control arm has a potentiometer that tells the car what the center of gravity is, that relays it back to a computer that uses that information to calculate where it needs to do something else, what the stability control is going to be. I mean, look at your computers. What do you get out of a laptop? 2-3 years, and the thing actually slows down and starts locking out of programs?
Personal story, I bought an HP computer for a class in college. It was like $420, something stupid. It was an i3 processor. It was an HP. Literally used it just for Excel. The thing was smoking on basic functions. That's how friggin' crazy the stuff that I was doing on Excel. The second I downloaded the program, it was called a risk management program, and it does like all these different types of portfolios and stuff, because I was in economics and business. The thing literally, when I got home from college, just wouldn't work. And that's literally using a program that was built in like the early 2000s, and because it's on an i3 processor, it pretty much fried it.
So now how about cars? You aren't updating the programs, but there is a certain... all of the programs are a bunch of microscopic switches
that are inside the dash, and now you have to destroy a $180,000 car just to get to the...
Well, not even that, an $80,000 car.
Yeah, but still...
It's a $50,000 car, and it's just constantly vibrating. Yes, the computers are great because they make it so that for 10 years you get in that car, and as long as you maintain it and take care of it, typically that car will start and get you to work every single day. It's not like a 64 Mustang or even a car from the 50s where you might have like 3 flats on the way to work and and have to rebuild the engine with hot lead on the side of the road. So it's nothing like the old cars where you had to actually be a mechanic just to drive.
That's true.
So, but the thing that brings this up is, and hopefully we aren't over our time because we only get 20 minutes to film before the camera dies. Not dies, but pauses the video. The thing that brought this up was there was a Snapchat story where Lamborghini... Now, mind you, Lamborghini, some of these models, they sell what, like 6 cars?
Yeah, like their most expensive car, they sold, what, 5 of them?
In a year. So there's only a couple people... Now, there's probably not... At the most, there's one of these cars on the road at a given time.
Yeah, and you'll be lucky at that point.
Yeah, so they Lamborghini made a hybrid, and they did it with super capacitors because they made it like an F1 car where it uses the stored electrical energy to boost the drive energy. So there was some reporter on there. And if any of you have seen the mug I bring around, we are going to say there was some brave and beautiful reporter who this is for our real followers who pay attention. There was some reporter who was talking about the car, and he was like, shouldn't auto manufacturers be using hybrid technology to help our environment?
Dude, you're driving a damn Lamborghini. Yeah, you're driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah, you're driving a Lamborghini. If you have that kind of money, you're either not caring about the environment,
or you're benefiting,
or you're spending it elsewhere.
Yeah,
they aren't advertising it as, hey, this is our eco-friendly car.
You're driving a Lamborghini. It doesn't need to be.
They're advertising it as, hey, this car's really fast.
Yeah, and that's what it's
like a Jag. It is very fast. Honey, I have to go get the Jag.
Oh, the Jag.
But I think this kind of exemplifies how, like, during the 60s, everyone had a Mustang. Well, maybe 70s. But,
yeah, I would say 70s.
But people were like, man, these cars are cool.
Well, yeah, most cars are cool.
And most cars are cool, but at you, I don't know if you touched on this. I kind of zoned out for a second. Were you talking about what size engines you're?
Oh yeah, of course. So like,
hold on. I'm triggering your memory so you can get your words together. But we talk about, okay, there's definitely a time and a place. Yes, we're going to try this. You're going to wait until I drink mine and we can give a taste review. But you can pour it. Let it breathe a little. Yes, because we drink scotch all fancy. Like, Jesus, will you pour that like a normal human being?
I was trying to be fancy.
So,
that's not bad.
A
little bit smoother than what we were drinking.
Well, scotch normally is. So there's a time and a place. Like if it's just your commuting car, absolutely get something that's environmentally efficient. But there is no car culture anymore. And you look at the Mercedes dealership.
Yes. Mercedes. So we used to make V12s, V10s. We did things with McLaren, with all that kind of stuff. But you have an AMG line that has a V8 twin turbo in it when it should have had a V10. And then you had like the C class that used to have a V6 into it. So now, when you get into the AMG lines and stuff like that, you're going to have a bigger engine with 2 turbos in it. But everything else literally is either a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder with a single turbo in it. So that alone should offset the fact that C classes used to be V6s with no turbo, and now they're 4-cylinder with turbos, a 2.0 liter.
So they're making the same power, but they don't have the cool factor to them.
Exactly. I mean, nothing beats a naturally aspirated engine going, 4,000 RPM, roaring and rumbling down the highway. But
well, that's how Ford was, because Ford used to make the old Ford GT40. We aren't even going to touch on that, but the Ford GT they made in the early 2000s was a better version of the V8 they put into the pickups. And now the new Ford GT is
a V6 twin turbo.
Their EcoBoost. They made the Raptor truck, and when they first came out with the Raptor truck,
hated that though.
Really?
Yeah, people do not like how the Raptor is now a V6 twin turbo.
Oh well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So when it first came out, it was the biggest V8 Ford made because it was cool, and it still got decent gas mileage. And then they came out with the new model of the Raptor, and it is a V6 twin turbo.
Yeah, and you can't put an exhaust on that. You can't, because then you're sounding like a Honda Civic. That's why I won't put an exhaust on my truck yet, because I haven't done enough research where it sounds like a friggin' turbo diesel. But then I don't want it to sound like a turbo diesel.
Well, it's never going to sound like a turbo diesel, but
there is a kit out there that makes it very similar.
It should sound like an Evo. The Mitsubishi Evos used to have turbos on them, and
yeah. I mean, I don't want it to sound like a Subaru, because Subarus are just...
Some people Evos can be fast.
Evos are stupid. Evos are stupid fast. Oh my god.
And that's the thing, I'm not even that big of a car guy. I'm a pickup guy. You're kind of a...
I'm in between. I have a sports car and I have a truck.
You still have your car?
Yeah.
Okay, that was something else, Alfred, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I still have my car.
So, but we're still car guy. I'm not a car guy enough to say, well, yes, on this car you want the Roush and the Bilsteins, and I'm just naming random manufacturers at this point. I can't pinpoint what car you want, what part you want on what car exactly, but I know how to take it apart and put the parts on.
Yeah, for the most part, I could do the same too.
And I know what cars I like, and I know what I like in a car, and I know, if I was to sit down and go buy a car today, I'd probably either get a GTR or a Corvette.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the Corvette's the best bang for your buck.
Well, and so the GTR is almost as good if you like glass.
You like glass?
If you like glass, because the gears in the transmission are made of glass.
I did not know that.
Yeah. They aren't actually made of glass, but
but they're that fragile.
But so the GTR has like launch modes and traction control buttons, and there's like 4 of them. And if you set all 4 buttons and launch the car like that, you've voided your transmission warranty. And by the 3rd time, you need a transmission rebuild. I mean, it's awesome that they're putting a car out that has so much performance to it
that it will literally destroy the transmission.
No, that it voids the warranty. That was like the Super Snake Mustang GT. You had 2 turbo options. One of them gave you some extra power and was pretty cool, and the second one voided your factory warranty.
That's insane.
So we're not, and now I'd like to get my car people on the
that'd be cool
show, but there's just that isn't really as big of a thing anymore.
Nah.
Like in the 70s, it was everywhere.
I think it's more of the actual look of the car because of my 350Z, I constantly look at, want to go to car meets and stuff like that. Dude, if you don't have wheels and you're not lowered, you're not classified as a modified
Well,
car.
there's 2 types of people in this world.
I know.
And there's the people who slam the car and put the rims on it, and then there's the people who do the performance.
Right, but a lot of the times you have a little, me personally, I'm a best of both worlds kind of person.
So you like a little style, you like a little...
Like, I want something that looks really hot and is a sleeper.
Okay.
Because, you can, like, if you're, for instance, if my 350Z had nicer wheels on it, a little bit more aggressive stance, and had a 2JZ twin turbo, like a friggin' GTR back in the 94, that thing would move. It would look badass. And people wouldn't care because they're like, wow, that's a built-up car. But now, all because I put an intake here and exhaust there, it's like, oh, you don't have wheels, it's not modified. What?
Have you ever heard of the Race of Gentlemen?
The Race of Gentlemen.
The Race of Gentlemen.
No.
Anthony, I need your help with something.
Sure.
The Race of Gentlemen happens in 2 places, but the one that I know of happens in Wildwood, New Jersey. You have to take an old car and you drag race it on the beach.
Oh, almost like Daytona. Back in the day, Daytona used to be a beach race. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But yes, like that. But you have to get a car that's a pre-54 frame and chassis, and you have to have, if you want to go for a V8, it has to be a flathead V8.
Okay.
So you have to do it before Chevy reinvented it and made the V8 something really good.
Yeah, like a block V8.
But I think we need to do this for the show.
Let's throw a big block Chevy in the Lincoln.
No, that won't work.
I don't care. I want to do it.
I don't care about the Lincoln.
I don't care.
I want to cut the roof off the Lincoln.
We already cut a freaking sunroof in it.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We should check on that and make sure it's not moldy inside.
It's probably moldy inside.
So, on that, I had a question for the viewers. Oh, if any of you viewers know where we can get a pre-54 car chassis or a flathead V8 engine, please
Molotov cocktails.
post it in the comments. And you want to give a quick review of this scotch? Before we change.
Hey, you know what? Barstool does one bite. Everybody knows the rules. I think we should patent one sip. Everyone knows the rules.
Okay. It's a very peaty scotch. It's very, and if for
you know what, I drank it out of the bottle, so let me get my.
For those of you who don't know, peat is it tastes almost smoky. It's not smooth like the Balvenie is, but it's smoother than bourbon.
It's got a sting to it.
It's got a little sting to it, but it's smooth.
It is smooth.
It bites, but it's smooth. All right,
for Red Label,
I've never had Red Label.
I'm a Black Label kind of guy, but with Red Label, I'll give it a 6.2
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
How
All
about you?
right. Let's get into our segment on knots.
What's your score?
I don't care. I don't like Johnny Walker. I don't like peaty scotches. I can't give it a real honest review.
If you had to drink it to get drunk, this is a good drink it to get drunk kind of scotch.
If you're drinking several glasses of scotch in a hurry, yes.
Yeah. Like if you want to sit down next to a fire and drink it, it better be like once in a lifetime type of thing.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
We're gonna tie knots in our next segment.
Yeah.
We're
not gonna tie the knots. We're gonna tie knots.
You were the only one thinking that.
Well, you know, with today's
out of our
age,
2 viewers, you were the only one thinking that.
I want to go home.
Catch us back in a few minutes.
Adios, my friends.
It's time to come clean. I drew some inspiration for this show in the creation from the Art of Manliness.
Fuck you, Art of Manliness. You guys suck nowadays. You were cool when you first started.
Yeah, that's a different conversation, though.
You want me to take that off for you?
The problem is, until we get requests for what we should be covering, we may be looking at them. And for some inspiration. There's a couple things they do that are still pretty neat. I think they just sold out.
Really?
That would be my guess.
I like my
They still put out some skills that are useful up there. And
I always thought the skill of the picture graph of what to do with a bear was the best one they've ever put out.
They have those all, and those are all typically pretty good. And I think we're going to draw on them, and I think we're going to use some of their skills, and we're going to apply it to this show. Except we're going to give them video knowledge as well.
That's
so
cool.
They can see how it actually happens. Although they recently did one that was how to defend yourself from an alligator. I don't think we'll be doing that.
I mean, we could figure it out. I know a guy.
Yeah?
I know a guy.
Okay. I don't have an alligator. Does your guy have an alligator?
I know a guy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So we will not be filming an alligator attacking us.
Yes, an alligator.
I don't want an alligator biting my leg.
It's a small alligator.
Okay. So
imagine
today,
imagine if I called them. Ah!
So today we are going to talk.
Oh, it's so fucking dusty, you cock.
So today we are going to talk about knots.
It's disgusting. Look what you did.
It's a big rope. What do you want? Today we're going to talk about knots, and I am going to have to use Anthony's arm at some point throughout.
Fuck you.
So now that I've pissed Anthony off and I've covered us both in rope fiber. Let's talk about some of the basic knots you might need at some point in your life. So, before we get started, I have 2 ropes here. I have a rope here. And I'm using this big clunky rope so you guys can see what's going on. I have 2 ends. In stage left hand, in Anthony's hand, is what we are going to refer to as the static end of the rope. And over here, I'm going to be referring to this as the working end, because we're going to be working it around for knots. So our first knot is going to be a half hitch. And no, I will not participate in this.
You got me dirty. I can do dirty jokes.
So, Anthony, I need your arm like this. Right here. No! Make a fist. So, we're going to talk about the half hitch. And the half hitch is easy. The half hitch, you put it over the object you want to tie to. You form a loop with the working end. you tuck it around the running end, and you pull tight.
Pretty much a simple ass knot.
Now, that knot is not effective for anything. Keep your arm up, please. You are going, in order to make this knot effective, you have to do this twice. So you tie 2 half hitches onto something, and you will be able to hold a fairly heavy load with 2 half hitches.
That's what she said.
You're going to get covered.
I hate you.
Uncovered. So now, the next very important knot is called a bowline. And now you don't have to take this on your arm, but you have to hold it up. Like that. Stop. Behave. So, what you're going to do is you are going to take your standing end and you're going to make a loop in it. And the purpose of the bowline knot is to have a loop to tie something to. So, the statement is, and the thing I always like to note is, on your static end, whichever the end of the rope is, you want to go through.
Use your words.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this correctly.
Just use layman's terms.
So if you see
Look at the loopy.
If you see how with my loop, I've put the rope to the back. I want to go through the knot, through the loop with my working end, through that side first. Now, if I make the loop the opposite way, I want to go backwards through this knot. Because that's the only way it's going to work, is you want to start on the side that the working end is on.
Might as well just make me a noose right now, because I want to kill myself.
So, the phrase for this
Pneumonic?
is... No, it's not a mnemonic.
I could have swore you were about to say mnemonic.
The rabbit goes out of the hole, around the tree, and back into the hole. And then it pulls tight all the way around, and unlike what I've done is... It makes actually a very strong knot. And those are, when I have people who are coming to work for my tree moving company for the first time, those are the 2 knots I teach them, because those are the knots you need the most. You need a way to loop around something and tie to it. And you need a way to tie to anything, tools, be it. You can get into clove hitches, which is just a fancy double half hitch. But another crucial knot is how to tie 2 pieces of rope together. And you have various forms for tying this. The knot I use the most is, we call it a dead man's, but you basically make a half hitch through using both ends of the rope, and you pull both ends together, and as we found out earlier today, it doesn't work with thin rope, but it works very well with large diameter rope. Even something like 3-ply Cecil twine. But another thing you get is what's called the sheet bend. And what you're going to do is what you do is you bend it over on itself. And you're going to hold this, please, with 2 hands. Thank you. And you hold it flat. Hold it so the viewers can see. So then, you're basically just going to make a loop with this one that goes around this. So you go inside, you go around it, and you come back through in the same spot. And then, when we pull against each other, we have a knot.
Yay.
Why are you so unexcited about this?
Because I'm not doing anything.
Well, what do you want to do?
I don't know.
Is there a knot you want to cover?
I can't do a knot with big ass rope. I can only do small knots.
So Anthony is going to cover fishing
This
lines.
fucking rope is dirty as shit.
It's just coming apart. It's an old rope.
Look at me. I look like I was
Look at me.
It looks like I'm wrestling a pig my size in a hay bale.
People are going to be very confused when they see us clean in the next segment.
Yeah.
Now,
don't hang out with Forrest.
Now, there are other kinds of knots that can be equally important. You can do figure 8 knots, which are, you basically make a figure 8 out of the rope. And you can make, and the only time that's really useful is in doing, and I went around one too many times, you make a No, I didn't. It's just this rope is huge. So
Huge.
it makes a figure 8 in the rope, and that could be useful for if you set up a pulley system and you don't want it to go anywhere. The figure 8 is better when you do a figure 8 on a bite, which I can't really do in here, but you basically tie a figure 8 in the rope, and then you make a loop. And especially if you know a bowline, this knot is useless, but you make your loop, and without destroying your loop, you chase the figure 8 back through the entire way in the knot with your working end. It's a very strong knot, but unless you're like tying 2 trucks together, it's kind of, why are you going to tie this excessively difficult knot to tie? Are there any other knots? I mean, there's the square knot, but the square knot's good for tying string together, and the sheet bend's actually a stronger knot.
Listen, if you have to make a knot and you're not working, you're screwed.
All right. I've gone over a few knots. If there's anything we weren't clear about, post it in the comments, and I will make a close-up knot video.
Yay!
But for that, catch us for our closing. And we're back. Anthony did not tie me up with a noose, for those of you who are worried.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We had the rope out, but I got a little I only got nervous for like a little bit. So, my birthday's coming up.
Oh, birthday! My birthday's not.
Before this episode gets published, I will be 25.
Ooh, quarter of a century. That's
Right?
gross.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Getting old. No wonder it's starting to hurt. So,
That's what she said.
I might have some cool tools to review. And
Like a hoe?
Yeah. And our reviewer...
That's pretty cool, actually.
I have found a reviewer.
Oh!
I've found our reviewer.
Oh!
We've been saying this for months, but before we were lying. Now we're telling the truth.
Yeah.
So I found our reviewer. As soon as we could get them in the studio, we have a whole slew of stuff for them to review, and we're going to pin them down and hit them until they review all of it.
That's what she said.
So that we all have bits and pieces and we don't have to find them every week.
Okay.
So, but for now...
What is that?
Let's talk about a couple tools.
I want to see that.
You can see this when we talk about the next thing.
Son of a bitch, I want to see it.
I hate this corn cob pipe.
You're wasting so much tobacco.
I haven't. I was trying to knock the ash out. The thing about a pipe versus a cigar, like, you have to puff on a pipe a lot more.
Yeah.
It's already out.
Well, don't you relight it?
I can, yes. So, this is called universal plier wrenches. Now,
It looks like channel lock.
Now, if you guys could see this on the camera, if our camera's working well, this says Snap-on the side.
Mm-hmm.
In the tool itself, it actually says Baco, which is spelled B-A-H-C-O. So you can get these online and on Amazon as Baco tools, or you can or you can get them on the from the Snap-on truck as Snap-on. And this gets into Alfred's discussion of buying cheap versus buying for life.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is like, I will buy sockets cheap,
Okay.
but I will buy an expensive ratchet
Okay.
because you use the ratchet more than the socket. So I'd rather not have to replace.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
So it depends on the tool. I use this almost every day. I use this instead of a pipe wrench as a plumber. I still have pipe wrenches, but this is my go-to tool because it's just easier to use one-handed than a pipe wrench. It's
Let me see the fucking thing.
Let me talk about
What?
it first. You'll get to play with it in a second.
That's what she said.
So it's the same principle. You have a little thing on a screw that opens and closes it more, and it's really a mechanics tool, but it works phenomenal for pipe work. And basically, the only way you're going to break it is if you put a pipe on it, but otherwise, it will break whatever you're trying to do before you break it. And I use it quite often, and it works quite well. I have two, actually. Might get more. All right, you're going to play with that. The next thing I want to talk about is something I just got the other day. I don't know if you guys noticed last episode, but I like red tools. And we're not going to name the red tools here because they haven't given us any money or any free stuff yet.
Yeah, fuck you, Milwaukee.
But I got this new system of theirs, which is called the Pack Out. And it's basically toolboxes that all link up together in these fancy grooves and nipples and latch together with this spring tit. And this one I got to organize my screws. They're not particularly cheap, but they have metal latches, so if you worry about that, they're there. I'm planning on getting a couple of the pack out options to carry tools and parts, but this is the first one I got, and this one's just for screws. So we'll see. I just got it. We'll see what it's like over time. We'll see if it works. And you have a manly quote for us, Anthony.
I do.
But that, oh, by the way, that's the end of our reviews for the day.
Oh, crap. You didn't put it on the thing.
Yeah, I did.
Ah, I see it.
So this is just some tools that I use in my daily life, and things that I've liked working with. Hopefully it can benefit you. I'm not the Rugged Reviewer. We might be able to throw these at the Rugged Reviewer at some point.
Yeah, but to end the night on a beautiful quote, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Winston Churchill.
And he would know a few things about landmines.
I would say so.
So on that landmine,
On that landmine.
thanks for watching.
Adios, my friends. Stay thirsty.